Service dogs are not encouraged to bark as a rule, but in some circumstances, for example, if a life partner might happen to fall down or require assistance, they need the dog to bark to gain attention. So Wyatt is going to demonstrate speak. It's actually quite hard to get a service dog to bark because they consider it sort of an aggressive thing. So for us to get them to speak on command is actually huge. Also, while we do not train them to be aggressive, if someone in a wheelchair feels threatened, we do try to teach the dogs the word guard so that they can give the impression, hopefully suitably scary impression, to be left alone. So Wyatt has been just working in the last couple days at teaching Everest guard. So let's see if that one works. That is in the last 2 days. That was frightening me, definitely. Thank you, Wyatt. Next, I'd like to introduce Kelsey and 3 more. The dogs are taught to be self-sufficient. We want the life partners to have them as an assistive addition to their family, not something else that they need to work on. So one of the ways to be self-sufficient, especially if bending over is difficult or they have trouble with their hands, is for the dogs to get their lead. So Kelsey's just going to have 3 more sit. It's also handy if you're walking along and you happen to drop your leash accidentally. You're welcome to try to do that automatically. The leash can often fall off wheelchairs and things, so we teach the dogs to grab the leash and bring it directly to the person as opposed to take off. Next is Brittany and Ben. And Brittany and Ben are going to bring out their case.
She stepped on it. He stepped on it.
This is another example of self-sufficiency. If you need to dress the dog and you don't have a lot of hand control, the dog can bring you their cake. And then Brittany's going to have it move closer so that she can put the cape on more easily. So you can imagine if you don't have a lot of upper body control or arm control, how handy it is to have the dog bring themselves right into your arm like that.
Oh.
Affection is always. Our next pair is Nicole and the very famous baby. I say that because I'm a puppy racer. First year she was the before dog. Not anymore, baby. They're going to demonstrate visit. Because people may not be able to reach out to the dog, we have several commands that bring the dog to you. Visit being one of them.
Oh.
Orange is a blonde, and it's just a nice loving moment for both the person and the dog. And you can see the bond Nicole has built up with Ruby, which is not easy when your puppy raiser is in the same room. They've done very well. Thank you, Nicole. Excellent. Our next command is with Ricky and Avalon Store, and we'll be right back. When you're in a wheelchair, which I discovered, I had to spend 2 weeks in a wheelchair in California. It's horrible. I've never been so glad to get out of the thing in my life. When you're in a wheelchair, it is very difficult to get to counters in stores. They're high. They're built for standing people. And it can take them a long time to actually purchase an item. With the dog assisting, the person not only has greater independence, the whole transaction happens faster. It tends to bring smiles to everyone's faces. And instead of being someone who holds up the line, the person with the disability is now a star. So Ricky, why don't you be our star? Ready? So Avalon is bringing the wallet to the cashier, and then make change. You bring it up. And then they get their wallet back. If a purchase has been made, the dog can also pick up the bag. And then you return the wallet. Avalon's wearing a special cape with CN on it. That is, one of our life partners works with CN, and they did a lot of fundraising. And so we now have another deco and a lot of money. Our next one is Carly and Victoria, who are going to demonstrate tug. Tug is another building block command. We tie items to cupboards, to fridges, to any store, unloading washers and dryers, and the dog then tugs those doors open so that we can use this item. So we're going to show the beginning of tug. Good. So the next stage, the next stage will be to tie it to a cupboard. So one day Victoria's going to pull open those giant heavy doors with these. You can see it already. Well done. Thank you. Next, we're going to have Alex, another Alex with Rocky. Rocky likes Alex's. He tends to collect them. And they're going to come out and they're going to demonstrate the beginning stages of light. With the complicated commands, we start with something simple, and then we build on it one step at a time. Initially with light, we start with a smaller light board, and the dog is asked to bring their attention just near the light switch. The dog is praised and given treats with this. Excellent timing is required on the part of our handlers to build on this and have the dog be successful. At just a year, Rocky hasn't been doing this one for very long, which is why we have him showing the beginning. So every time Rocky's nose is getting near the light switch, Alex is treating him and praising him. As it gets closer and closer to the switch, as the dog gains an ability, we then stop treating for that one stage and ask more of the dog. This requires the dog to think, something that's very important with service dogs. And it requires, again, a lot of skill on the part of the handler. So Alex is demonstrating the timing needed to get the dog to be closer and closer to that switch.
Persevering because you could turn it on the other day. It's like a good drive off the first tee. You just want to do that again.
Rocky's very close to doing this reliably, but he's in a new environment. Light is one of the most exciting ones. Also one of the hardest. Alex is one of our more motivated students. Good. After a lot of practice, the dogs